Hey everyone, it's Adam here from the Franchise Tag, and I have got my top 5 wide receivers for fantasy football in week 8. Now, as we always say, we try and avoid the obvious ones. However, there are some here that have got some really nice matchups that are quite high in most people's list. But these are guys that you can go out and trade for and that you really, really want to in order to help yourself win this week's matchup. Now, my number one guy for week 8 at the wide receiver position is DJ Moore of the Chicago Bears. Obviously, we're still a bit up in the air whether Justin Fields is going to play or not, but it doesn't matter because DJ Moore still had a good game last week with Badgett as the quarterback, and it just goes to show that he is someone that, despite whoever the quarterback is, he can have a decent game. Chargers are 32nd against the wide receiver, and so therefore he looks a really excellent choice to be going for. He's got over 13 points last week with Badgett as his quarterback, and I think that goes to show that he's definitely worth putting in for this week. My number 2 guy, Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders. Now, McLaurin hasn't had the greatest year so far, but he's been pretty solid, and that's why I'm putting him in there. He's had at least 10 points in 5 of the 7 games that he's played in with Sam Howell at quarterback. And he's going up against a Philadelphia Eagles side who, although it's been, they're impressive, they're 6-1, you can't complain too much, but they have struggled against the wide receiver, currently 31st when it comes to giving up points for the wide receiver in fantasy. And so I think because of that, McLaurin is a pretty safe bet as someone that you can go out, trade for, and get a decent amount of points this week. My number 3 guy, Zay Flowers for the Baltimore Ravens. Flowers has been great since being a rookie. He's done really, really well this season. He's going up against the Arizona Cardinals this week, 27th against the wide receiver. Definitely think he can have another great week. We saw him play in London, how he was getting loads of targets. Saw him again this week get plenty of targets. He, bit like Terry McLaurin, over 10 points, but in 6 of his 7 games. So another guy that you can put in that is going to be reliable and give you plenty of points. You should definitely be going out and getting this guy for week 8. My number 4 guy, Josh Downs of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Downs has got a pretty tough matchup. He's going against the New Orleans Saints, who are 12th against the wide receiver. But that doesn't matter so much as we saw last week. He played against the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were number 1 against the wide receiver going into that matchup, and he got 29 points in that game. He's had 16 receptions over the last 3 weeks and is just someone that you definitely want in your team. He's been playing really well with Gardner Minshew as his quarterback, and so it would be surprising to see this suddenly stop now. And then finally, my number 5 guy, Josh Palmer of the LA Chargers, going up against the Chicago Bears. They're 18th against the wide receiver. Not a massively bad team to play against the wide receiver, but it's still a decent matchup for Palmer, who's seen 22 targets since Mike Williams has been injured over the last 3 games that the Chargers have played. Herbert is clearly targeting this guy, and so you need to make sure that you get him in your lineup as well for another guy that's going to give you a decent amount of points. So they're my 5 wide receivers for week 8. Also, make sure that you see the time difference. The game's not going to be 6 p.m. starts in the UK. They're going to be 5 p.m. starts in the UK. So make sure you get your lineups ready in time for that.